Good morning to all. Welcome back to our course on the C programming language. In today's session, I am planning to discuss a topic on arrays. This is how I have planned to discuss the concept of arrays. First of all, we will see what these arrays are. We will see the definition part in this context, and after that we will see why we require these arrays, and then we will see the types of arrays, then we will proceed to discuss the advantages of arrays, and then the disadvantages of arrays, so this is what I have planned in today's session. You can assume that this is an introduction part to our arrays concept. So let us see what this array is, what actually the definition that is given in any of the textbook or any of the material. So an array is a collection of elements, and remember that these elements are data, anything you can write. It is a collection of elements or data or information, whatever it may be. These collection of elements should be of same data type. I will tell you with an example what do you mean by this same data type, right. So, for example, if you make an array of integers, that means it is nothing but a collection of elements where all the elements belong to the type integer. This is what they should be of same data type, and in addition to this one, they should be occupying the contiguous memory locations. They should be stored in contiguous memory locations. What do you mean by these contiguous memory locations? Actually, this particular storing of all the elements that are present in the array in the continuous memory locations will have lot of advantages, like we can access the elements randomly, we can access the elements sequentially. So, we have so many advantages of storing these elements in the contiguous memory locations. So, the definition of the array is, it is a collection of elements or data or information which should be stored in the contiguous memory locations, and all the elements should be of same data type. This is very important definition, and some more important points regarding these arrays. The first point is, these arrays come under the category of derived data types. In the previous sessions, we have seen that the data types are classified into three categories. Those are the primitive data types, the second one is the derived data types, and the third one is the user defined data types. But whatever we are discussing now, that is the concept of arrays, this comes under the category of derived data types. We know what this derived data type is. So, a derived data type in C programming language can store the primitive data types such as int, float, char, double, etc. So, in order to store these primitive data types, we make use of the derived data types, or else you can also remember like this also. This derived data type itself, the meaning of derived means they have been derived, these data types have been derived from the primitive data types such as int, float, char or double, etc. What do you mean by deriving these data types from the primitive data types? Means these particular derived data types are used to hold or to store the primitive types of data such as int, float, char, double, etc. So, that is the meaning of the derived data type. That means, similarly, not only it can store a collection of integers, not only it can store the collection of float, char, double, etc. It can store a collection of other derived data types. So, we have some examples on the derived data types such as arrays, pointers, like that. And the user defined data types examples are structures, unions, enums, etc. And I am saying that the derived data types are able to store the collection of elements of primitive data types. It not only, but remember that it not only stores the elements of primitive data types, it is also used to hold or store the collection of derived data types also. So, example, it can store the collection of pointers. You can declare an array of pointers. The array of pointers concept we will discuss in some other topic when we go deep into the concept of pointers. In a similar fashion, these arrays, they can store a collection of elements which belong to user defined data types also. So, please remember that these derived data types are a collection of elements of similar data type. Those similar data type means those data types can belong to the primitive data types, they can belong to the derived data types, and they can belong to the user defined data types. For example, you can create an array of structures, very important concept. So, these structures are discussed under the category of user defined data type. So, you can also declare an array of structures. So, remember that these arrays can store a collection of the primitive data types or derived data types or the user defined data types also. And once we know the definition of the what array is and some important points, what collection we can make by making use of these arrays, let us discuss why we require these arrays. Why we require these arrays? It is a very straightforward answer why we require these arrays. Let me take an example. So, let me take an example of class strength. In general, assume that a class is having a strength of 60 students, and we know that every student will have some registration number. In order to uniquely identify that student, every student will be allocated a unique registration number. And if I have 60 students and if I want to store the registration number of all the 60 students, you can have 60 different variables. For suppose, assume that we do not have the concept of arrays right now. So, registration 1 which can store the registration number of the first student, similarly regd2 which stores the address of the second student, and then we have registration number 3 which stores the registration number of student 3, and like that we should have almost 60 variables, 60 different integer variables. So, I am assuming that the registration number is entirely an integer content. So, I should have in my program I should have 60 different variables of type integer to hold each and every registration number of student. In order to maintain these 60 different variables, it will be somewhat difficult for the programmer. Difficult for maintaining these many variables. So, this is a simple example where I have taken only 60 students. Assume that when you want to maintain the records of all the students present in the college or all the students present in the university, which ranges around some 1000 to some lakhs of students. When you want to write a program with some 1000 variables or 1 lakh variables, see how difficult it will be. So, the maintenance becomes very cumbersome when we have different variables to store the same type of data. You can see here registration 1 is of integer, registration 2 is of integer, similarly registration 3 is of integer, everything, all these are belong to integer data type, but you are storing it in different variables and at different locations. This will be very difficult for the programmer to have the maintenance of these many variables. So, what the researchers of the C programming language or the inventors of C programming language has thought is, they want to store all these data types which belong to same data type. That means, they want to store all the values that belong to the same data type and that belong to the same category under a single name. They want to store it under a single name. So, for this purpose, they have introduced the concept of arrays. Arrays, as we have seen the definition of the array, it is a collection of elements of same data type and they should be stored in contiguous memory locations. So, when you declare an array, I will tell you how we declare an array in the next session, but right now when you declare an array of size, while declaring the array you should mention the size of the array. When you mention the size of the array, then it indicates that you are going to store those many elements of same data type and those elements will be occupying the contiguous memory locations and they all have the single name. So, you may have a doubt, how can I refer all these 60 registration numbers with a single name? So, we have a concept of indexing here, which we are going to discuss in the next coming session. So, by making use of the single name or the name of the array along with the index, you are going to refer different variables. So, this is the main purpose of introducing the arrays. The reason is, in order to maintain the data which is of similar data type and which belong to the same category, instead of maintaining different variables to store all those values, which will lead to the difficulty of maintenance of so many variables in the program. The program looks very cumbersome, debugging becomes difficulty, even memory allocation will happen at different locations. So, lot of problems are there, but all the problems we just categorize under the maintenance, right. So, maintaining so many variables will become difficulty for the programmer. To avoid such difficulty, the inventors or the C programming language has introduced the concept of arrays, where we can store different values of the same data type and which belong to the same category. They can be given a single name by which you can refer all those variables. So, array name followed by index number will be used to refer different variables or the different values of same data type. So, we have seen what an array is, we have seen why we require the arrays. Now, let us discuss what are the various types of arrays we have. We have basically two types of arrays. The first one is one dimensional array and the second category is multi-dimensional arrays. Under these multi-dimensional arrays, you can have different categories like 2D. D stands for dimension, 2D array, and we have 3D array where we have 3 dimensions. We will discuss the 1-dimensional array as well as the 2-dimensional array, but when you go on increasing the dimension of the arrays, it will be very difficult for the programmer to think of the logic as well as to implement the programs. So, our discussion will be confined to only these 1-dimensional arrays and 2-dimensional arrays. 1-dimensional in the sense we will have the list of elements in only one direction, one dimension. So, every element we assume that they are stored in the consecutive memory locations in a row format like this. So, this is one row and we have different elements here stored in the columns. And coming to the 2-dimensional arrays, these 2-dimensional arrays they come into they have a lot of advantages that whenever the user tries to store the data in the form of tables, tabular data, which consists of rows and columns. When you want to store the tabular data, for example, like this, you have 4 rows here, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and I have 4 columns here. Whenever the user tries to program such type of things where you want to store the tabular data, in such cases you will be going for the concept of 2D arrays. For example, matrices we have seen in the mathematics. When you want to write programs related to the matrices which consists of both rows and columns, in such case you want to implement these matrices, in such case you require these 2-dimensional arrays. Very important point. And we will discuss more about these 1D arrays, how we declare the 1-dimensional array, how we initialize the 1-dimensional array, and what is this 2D array, how we declare it, how we initialize it, how we access the elements. All these things we will discuss in the coming sessions. But let us move to our 4th point, that is the advantages of arrays. While coming to the advantages of arrays, previously we have seen that the arrays has been introduced in the C programming language to make the programmer's task easy. What do you mean by programmer's task making it easy? Means, as we have seen in the earlier example, that instead of maintaining 60 different variables that belong to same data and that belong to the same category, we are making use of a single array name and the indexing concept to address different variables or different values, not variables. So, that itself is called as optimization. We are going to optimize the code. So, there you can achieve the concept of code optimization. So, instead of having so many variables and instead of maintaining those many variables, you have very less code, to store as well as to access them. So, the storage and accessing of elements in the arrays can be done with the help of very less code rather than you are having a longer code, right. So, this comes under the advantage which we can name it as the code optimization. You are optimizing the code, right. And then the second advantage is it allows the sequential access. So, if you know the initial element address, you can pass through entire array without knowing the second element's address. For example, let us take here only. In this particular thing, when we have this particular array, if I know the starting address of this particular location, this one, what happens here is you can access all the remaining elements sequentially. So, knowing one single address will make you to access the remaining elements in a sequential fashion, but this is not a good advantage, right. We have another advantage which is called as the random access. So, accessing of elements in the array can be done either in the sequential fashion or in the random access fashion. When you want to access the elements sequentially, you should know the base address, which is called as the starting address. Once you have the starting address, you can access the remaining elements sequentially. Why? Because the concept is very simple. All the elements in the array are stored in the consecutive memory location. So, if you know the first element, you can access the second element, then third, then fourth, and so on. This will happen only with the arrays. And the third advantage we get is the random access. So, you can access the third element, this one. This element can be easily accessed. Similarly, you can access the fifth element, this element can be accessed. You can access the nth element, you can access 100th element, or you can access nth element, anything is possible. So, the random access of elements is possible only in the case of arrays, and for random access we will be using, or we need the help of indices. We need the help of index. We should know the index number of that element. Once you know the index number of the element, you can simply access it in a random fashion. And another advantage we can have is accessing the elements, easy access of elements. As we know that the number of elements in the array are stored with a single array name. You can access all these elements by using a simple for loop. Just you make use of a for loop and you can access all the elements in the array. So, easy access of elements will be there. This is one of the advantages we have with the arrays. And finally, sorting. Whatever sorting is a method where you are going to arrange the elements in a particular fashion. That means, the popular sorting mechanisms what we know in our daily life is you can arrange a list of numbers in either the ascending order or the descending order. So, that ascending order and descending order is nothing but sorting. Similarly, we know another sorting mechanism which can be implemented on strings, which is called as the alphabetical order or the dictionary order, where you will arrange the list of words in a alphabetical fashion, that is A after B after C, like that. So, these are the way, this is what is called as sorting. It is a method of storing the elements in a particular fashion. So, for all the sorting mechanisms, you will be using the concept of arrays. So, arrays plays very important role in the sorting mechanisms. And after this, we have the fifth topic, which is the disadvantage of arrays. Disadvantages of arrays. Actually, we do not have much disadvantages in arrays. Only one disadvantage we have under these arrays is they make use of static memory allocation, very important point. The memory that is allocated for these arrays will be done at the time of compilation. Such type of allocation of memory which is done at the compile time is called as static memory allocation. So, So, what is the disadvantage we get from this static memory allocation? The only disadvantage is we need to define the size of the array well in advance at the time of declaration itself. So, remember that the size of array is declared at the time of declaration itself. Without specifying the size of the array at the declaration point, you cannot create an array. It will have some disadvantage. For example, let me take the same class example which consists of 60 students and where each and every student will have a registration number, and all these registration number are of type integer. Let me write a program with these 60 students. That means I declare an array which is of size 60. So, the memory will be allocated at the time of declaration. This point we have been stressing from the first point onwards. The memory for the variables in the C programming language will be allocated at the time of declaration itself. So, when I declare an array of size 60, and since it is an integer array, every integer element has 4 bytes. So, a total of 60 into 4, that is equal to 240 bytes of memory will be allocated. But unfortunately, assume that in our class only 30 students has joined. So, the total memory that is required for storing the registration numbers of all these 30 students will be 30 into 4, that is equal to 120 bytes. So, 120 bytes of memory is enough to store these 30 students registration details. But what happened here is we have already created an array of size 60, that means it can store 60 integer elements, and I have allocated 240 bytes here, but I require only 120 bytes. So, there is a wastage of memory around 240 minus 120 bytes, 120 bytes of memory will be wasted. Why? Because I have only 30 students, but I have declared the array for 60 students, storing 60 students data. So, 120 bytes of memory is wasted. This is the primary disadvantage what we get from the arrays. That is, all this disadvantage, wastage of memory. If somebody asks you what is the primary disadvantage, you can say that the arrays are allocated memory based on the static memory allocation strategy. Static memory allocation means allocation of memory at the time of compilation itself. So, allocation of memory should be done, or the size of the array should be declared or should be specified at the time of declaring the array itself. So, what is the disadvantage you get from this one? You can explain this example. The ultimate disadvantage is wastage of memory, that we get from this static memory allocation. This is not only the case. For example, you take the reverse case. So, primarily my class strength is 60. Okay, I want to store 60 registration numbers, and I have declared an array of 60 elements. But assume that in addition to this 60, 5 more students have joined. So, total how many elements you have to allocate? You have to allocate 65 elements memory location, but you cannot do this one dynamically. You cannot do this reallocation of memory dynamically. Why? Because the memory has been allocated statically at the time of compilation. So, dynamic memory allocation is a different concept where you can allocate the memory for these arrays at the time of running the program. So, that will save lot of memory, wastage of memory will not be there. You can have your own memory allocation, whatever you want you will get it. Whenever you want to expand it, you can do it. Whenever you want to shorten it, compress it, you can do it. So, all these advantages, expansion of memory, compression of memory, all these things will happen only in the dynamic memory allocation. But in static memory allocation, once you allocate the memory, that is final. So, 60 elements memory 240 bytes is allocated. You cannot compress it to save these 120 bytes, or you cannot expand this array to store 5 more elements. So, that is the disadvantage we have with the arrays, the static memory allocation. So, that is what we have discussed in today's session. That is, we have started our discussion with the arrays concept. We have seen what is the definition of an array. An array is a collection of elements of similar data type which can store the elements in the contiguous memory locations. And then we have moved our discussion towards the why we require these arrays. The main reason why we require these arrays is we have seen it with an example of class. So, to maintain many different variables, it will be very difficult for maintaining those many variables. So, they have introduced the concept of arrays where you can store different values under the single name with the indexing concept. And then we have moved our discussion towards the types of arrays. We have 1D array and multidimensional arrays. Under multidimensional, we have 2D, 3D, etc. And advantages of arrays we have discussed, like we have random access is possible, sequential access is possible, code optimization is there, easy access of elements is there. So, we have so many advantages with these arrays. And finally, we have ended our topic with the discussion on disadvantages of arrays. The only disadvantage of the arrays is the arrays makes use of the static memory allocation, where the user is not free to expand or compress the memory that is once allocated at the compile time. Whatever memory you allocate at the time of declaration, that is fixed. You cannot expand, you cannot compress. By this, we will end up our discussion on the introduction concept related to the arrays. Thank you one and all for joining the session.